What's up, y'all? We are back for day 29. Can y'all believe it? 29 days into November, and that is not just a regular November. This has been a November like no other for me, and I pray that it has been a November that has been like one of the greatest Novembers you have had to date. It's only going to get better and better. It's only going to get gooder and gooder. And y'all, we are here. We made it to day 29. This is sweet. Hold on, I ain't doing it right. This is sweet November. 30 days of manna. Y'all. It has truly been good. And yes, y'all, I am a little bit further back today, like, because the camera in here, I know you probably like, girl, you did that the day before the last day. I know, but I mean, Anyway, we are on day 29, y'all. And so, like I have been telling y'all, like, God is just, when I say he goes in order, okay? He goes boom, 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 chronological order, sequential order, however, like any other order there is. I just know of sequential and chronological order, but there may be another form. But y'all, he does things in order. There is nothing that is just by happenstance. And so here we are today. So let me share what happened on today, right? So I got a message from a friend, and she sent me this YouTube, right? And so the lady was talking about the walls of Jericho, right? And so I'm like, this is so good. And after I watched, it was a really short video, and after I watched, I was like, man, isn't that something? I said, I was talking about that not too long ago. So of course that prompted me to go back to the days that I was talking about it. And so on day 22, if you haven't seen it already, go back to day 22. But day 22, you got your marching orders. You got yours and I got mine, right? And we talked about the marching orders. We talked about the Israelites that Joshua was now leading, because he was the leader. Moses had passed away, and they were told by God that God gave them strategic orders to march around the wall of Jericho 7 times. But before that 7 times, they were supposed to be very quiet, okay? So they just had their marching orders. And then on day 23, which was actually Thanksgiving, which made the 7th day, they were to shout. And we talked about shouting. We talked about giving God praise and honor and glory, that you had now what you were surrounding the promises, but you had now gone into part of the promise, y'all. Follow me. And so, she was talking about that part, like the walls coming down and going into it. It was just so good. And so me going back, looking at those videos, I also went back and looked at the word, right? Because it always helps to go back to just see if, just to look and to see if there's a new revelation or something fresh or anything that God is highlighting to you in that moment. And y'all, when I went back, I'm sure I probably saw it the first time, but that's not what we were focusing on that day. But when I went back, I saw a huge part that I said I needed to include or highlight for today, y'all. God has brought us here. The promises, everything that he said he is going to do, we are there. They were surrounded the promise and they went into the promise, y'all. And what I want to talk to y'all about today, I would be remiss if I had not mentioned it. Not only that, but we were just talking about idols, getting rid of your idols, right? Well, not only do you need to get rid of the idols or the any form of idolatry. And y'all, I meant to add this as well. I thought about this after the video. I was talking about more so like things and tangible things in that video. But I want you to know that people can be idols as well too. You can idolize people. It almost makes me cringe. And this is before I even really learned and studied about idolatry. But when people call other people idols, like, it just used to, like, what, huh? Like, they're human just like you. I understand they do great things. God has given them extraordinary gifts. Perhaps it was from God, or not. Nonetheless, like, don't hold people as an idol. Don't put them on this pedestal, okay? Because we know that anyone is bound to fall, anyone is subject to fall, and it's just not a good thing to do. People shouldn't be your measurement, okay? You should be focused on what the word of God says, whatever he's telling you to do, and that is the only thing that you should really be comparing as far as what you're doing. What you're doing here in this earth, what you're doing in this lifetime, okay? Do I think it's great to honor people? Absolutely. I have people that I honor, and I am truly grateful that God sent them into my life. However, when I say Tori don't idol nobody. Nobody is my goal. Nobody is my idol. Nobody is on a pedestal in my life. And not only people, y'all, but I come to realize, because I had another conversation with another good friend on last night, later last night after the video, and some of the promises that God has given us, I'll include myself, we have idolized those things too, so much so that it has taken our focus and our true love for God away. And I won't say it completely away. That's not what I mean. But what I'm saying is it's taking our focus off of what God wants us to do and focusing on our relationship with him, that we now take those promises, we now take those prophecies, and it's like embedded in our head, and that's all we are thinking about. Okay, that's something that we should not be doing as well. If God promised us something, it's okay to pray into it. It's okay to pray to him about it. I believe it's okay to ask God questions, but to just literally become submerged in these prophecies and into the promises that God gave you, whereas it's like stopping you from doing something else, or you feel like, you know, your world is crumbling or coming down because you haven't seen it yet. Don't do that. That's not cool. Okay. All right. So now that we got that little part out the way, let's get back on day 29. Okay. So this is the part I said that I would be remiss about if I did not share with you. The walls have fallen. Remember, I told you about that message. I just mentioned it. The walls have fallen, meaning the walls of Jericho have fallen. You have gone in. However, stay away from the devoted things. Stay away from the devoted things. Let me insert the scripture right here. When I went back to review this word, what I found, this is Joshua 6:18 to be exact. But keep away from the devoted things, so that you will not bring about your own destruction by taking any of them. Otherwise, you will make the camp of Israel liable to destruction and bring trouble on it. I feel like I need to read that again. Mind you, they are hyped. They're celebrating. The walls have fallen down. They have gone in. And so God said, verse 18, but keep away from the devoted things, so that you will not bring about your own destruction by taking any of them. Otherwise, meaning as a result, if you do, you will make the camp of Israel liable to destruction and bring trouble on it. Were there certain things that they took to add to the Ark of the Covenant? Yes, the gold and the silver. But there were other things that were considered devoted things, right? And so what is devoted things? Things that have been dedicated to these other gods that they were serving, right? Because they went into this land where the other people were. The other folks, them, all right? And so they had taken these things, right? And so some of the things they named that could have been devoted things are clothing. Y'all, we talked about this the other day, about the earrings and the clothes and stuff like that. Cattle, of course, during their time. And it says other plunder and other idols, y'all. God has brought us here. We're in these promises, y'all. Yes, there are certain things, and you better find out what those certain things were. Just like for them, they took the silver and the gold. Everything else, God said, was devoted things of those people that were there, that were idols. And he said, don't take them. Don't mess with them. Don't bother them. Don't even think about it, because it's going to bring destruction, y'all. Don't get in there and act like you forgot what the good Lord said, okay? Don't get in there and get in the mix and the mingle and taking and going into certain things that you have absolutely no business getting into, whether it is with people, places, or things. You better check with him first, okay? Because you don't want destruction to come on you. And so, what is destruction? It's an action or process. And listen to this definition, because it does not mean that it's going to come quickly, but it is guaranteed to come. It's an action or process of causing damage to something that it no longer exists and cannot be repaired. Y'all, when the Israelites went in, and we all know that there were some that took things, right? And so when they went to go up to battle afterwards, they lost. And so it caused Joshua to question, like, well, wait, hold on, wait a minute. God, I know you didn't bring us this far, like, for this to be the end for us. I want you to put yourself in their place. I know, Tori, this is me, like, you put your name there, like, God, I know you didn't bring Tori this far into the promises for me to be defeated by my enemies, for me to be in the process of being damaged. And so Joshua and some of the elders, you know, back then, they fall straight to the ground. All right. To us, that may seem dramatic, but they did not play around. I mean, they just, you know how you just, they fell on down to the ground. I can't get on the ground for the video, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like, they fell to the ground, and they was good. When I say they would tear their clothes off, you talking about how to hawk. They would tear them clothes off so quick, and people knew that that represented that they were in mourning of like disobedient, like they were in a sorrowful state, like a crying out loud state. And so they did that, and God is like, boy, get up. He didn't say, boy, get up. But he was like, why are you on your face? Like, what are you doing? Somebody has sinned, okay? That is why y'all lost the battle. So what was a result of the Israelites taking the devoted things? Many people died. They became fearful of their enemies. Now, why would you ever do that? They questioned God. They started to question. That was Joshua questioning God, like, what? You brought us all the way here for this? And God threatened to withdraw his presence. You know how people are like, God, where is God? He like, what? Honey, one thing, let me pause right here, because one thing you don't want is for God not to be with you. Okay? One thing you don't want is to be plucked out of the hand. Okay? One thing you don't want is not to be covered. All right? That is not what you want. Okay? But sin, it'll do it. And not only that, y'all, I want y'all to hear me and hear me well. When we think about these promises, y'all, I want y'all to think long term how this is going to be not only for you, because this ain't a selfish thing. This is not just a Tory thing. I had to learn that. I learned that by a very powerful woman of God, Serene. I hope she don't mind me saying her name, but we were talking one time, and she told me, like, what God promised you, like, it's not even just literally for you. This is for your seed. This is for your seed. This is for the seed of the seed of the seed of the seed that you will not be here to see. This is a part of your lineage. This is a part of your legacy. This is not just about Tori getting the promises of God, okay? It's not just for us. You got to think about everybody attached to you. And if you don't have, kids right now, it could be other people that are attached to you in your family, or whoever, or your family to come, all right? And so the very last thing that this cause, right? This disobedience, this sin, taking these devoted things, it caused an entire family to be wiped out. An entire family was killed, because when they found out what family it was that took the plunder, that took the devoted things, God gave the order, like, they were wiped out, y'all. That's a whole family gone. Generations gone. That one a good snap. Generations gone, wiped out, because you wanted to take things. You wanted to take tangible things. And it's the audacity. After all the miraculous acts and God did for them, it's the audacity. It's actually the stupidity of them to even think that God did, that, like, he wouldn't see that. You thought you got by? Okay, that's why I said the destruction, it's an action, it's a process. It can be a process. Oh, you thought you got away with it. Yeah, you took it and you hid it, and you thought like a fool. My grandma used to call him a drum fool. Now that's a drum fool. You thought God was not going to recognize or notice that you had did that. You thought there weren't going to be any consequences for you doing that. God said, okay, well, go ahead and try to fight them folks and see who wins. Y'all, it's not worth it. The walls have fallen. Stay away from the devoted things, the things that have been held up or put up for idolizations, the things that have become idol things, people included. Stay away from these devoted things. Don't get mixed in it. Don't dabble in it. Don't take a little peek at it. Don't do any, don't be curious about it unless it's something that God is teaching you or a learning moment or something like that. But even then, just pray about it, okay? It took out a whole family, a whole line. I'm talking about generations. Because you know what? Them kids that was in that family, they had to go too. And I know that probably sounds really harsh, like, oh, little kid. Yeah. Because of the sins of their parents or their grandparents or whoever they were to them. Yeah, because they sinned. Now the kids had to be wiped out too. And so this is what I wanted to share with you. This is what I felt like I would be remiss if I didn't come back, especially after hearing that word earlier and going back and recognizing or realizing that that was our day 22 and our day 23. I said, I got to put this in there. I know this is day 29. How fitting. We are here. We are in there. Don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up in the idols. Don't get caught up in the idolization. Don't get caught up in these things and these trinkets and these whatever else is out there, these things that have origins that come from only God knows what, but it don't come from God. That's why I say you better pray about it, whatever it is. In all things, I get it now. God said in all things you should pray. It really is that serious. Even food, drink, whatever, in all things. He does not specify one or two or three particular things. He said in all things. If you're not sure about it, pray to him about it. And this is for me too. I am not exempt. I'm not exempt from any of these words that I have given you all. And so that's day 29, y'all. I want you to still be excited about it. Still be joyful about it. Still be hopeful about it. If if you're wavering a little bit like Tori, I haven't seen anything. It is coming. It is coming. It is here. It's not even coming. It's here. You know what God could do in a second, in a minute, in an hour, in a day? This is day 29. The walls have fallen. You know I got to say it again. The walls have fallen. Stay away from the devoted things, y'all. Stay away from it. It's not worth it. It's not worth destruction. It's not worth demise. It's not worth wiping out your family over things. And guess what? When they left, none of those things that they took with them that they hid went with them. Not even worth it. That's all I got for you. Y'all know y'all better come back for day 30. What? We are closing out this thing. And I am excited about it, y'all. I'm just excited to see what God has to say for the very last day. Sweet November. Sweet November. 30 days of manna. Join me tomorrow, day 30. Share this video with the people that you love. As always, be blessed. Be encouraged. Bye.